All right, this is the Franklin Public Library Board of Trustees meeting on Monday, March 24th, 2025. It is 6 p.m. This is Maria Imp, and I will take roll call. Annie Oklubgia is excused. Judy Williams-Kalaki.
Here.
Mike Karolevitz.
Here.
Terry Barris.
Here.
Amanda Pound is excused. Alan Alexandrovich.
Here.
Christopher Dahl is excused, and Alderwoman Michelle Eichmann.
Here.
Okay. Excellent. Alrighty, there are no visitors here. The correspondence, is that what you are passing around? Okay. She's passing around a card.
Just Kelly Hirsch's stepfather had passed away, and I sent her a card from board and staff.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for doing that. Okay. No public presence, so we will approve the minutes from, that date is incorrect on
Right,
the
it's supposed
agenda.
to be for February.
Oh, did I?
Just on the agenda, so I don't know if
Yeah,
it
so-
does not affect the minutes, so we don't, we can still approve the minutes. But did anyone see anything else on the minutes?
I make a motion to approve.
That was Mike. Do I have a second?
Second.
And Terry. Any other questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed or abstained? All right, that motion carries. And then Mike, you are doing our financials this month, is that
Right.
correct?
Okay, so invoices for Fund 15.
Yep.
We have a total of $11,209.38. I went through all the invoices. They seem to be, all match up to the details, so I make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
That was Mike and Judy. Any other questions for Mike? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed or abstained? Motion carries.
Okay, Fund 16 invoices in a total of $5,942.26. All of those look in good order, so I make a motion to approve. Second.
That was Mike and Alan. Any other questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposition or abstentions? Motion carries. Continue.
Okay, so, first off, the month of February, it represents 16.16% of the year, just going on the number of days so far. Fund 15, our expenses total 13.39%, so we come in under budget. Largest items in Fund 15 are personal services and employee benefits. They represent over 2/3 of our Fund 15 expenses. And so those things, with the exception of upcoming dates like in May and November, where I believe because of holiday pay and things like that, where it ends up being higher than normal. So any questions on Fund 15? I focused more on the expenses. Make sure that those were in line, and like I said, it's not a linear thing, so maybe some months where we end up getting a little bit closer to what the total would be.
Right.
Okay, Fund 16, expenses are quite low, 7.17%, but because most of Fund 16 ends up being program supplies and vendors, and that kind of picks up as we get closer to higher programming periods. Right now, it's kind of understandable that might be a little bit low. Any other questions on Fund 16?
Did our fund balance, and maybe we don't know this, Alan, but did the fund balance follow your projection? You know, you had done that projection for the upcoming years, and I can't remember if last year was included in that. Was it?
I didn't get into a whole lot of detail.
Okay. Just
to-
curious.
To dig into that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, not at all.
I did include a separate spreadsheet that just talks about the 2024 expense breakdown between Fund 15 and Fund 16. I did it as much for my own edification as to just kind of see, well, how do some months compare to each other, and what are like the biggest percentages of Fund 15 and Fund 16 categories? One thing that I would like to do is meet with Danielle Brown in April, prior to us starting to talk our budgeting process in May, and get an idea of what may be coming from the city. Also, one of the things that is in Fund 15 in facilities and utilities is that interdepartment charge, and I don't know what makes up that cost.
Anymore.
And so I would be curious as to,
Yeah.
you know, what the details are behind that, just so at least we would know. Because it's just kind of like, it's a fairly sizable amount of money that comes out every month, so it's like, well, what are we paying for?
Yeah.
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 That's our custodians.
So it's kind of a
But there's
personnel
other
cost.
categories for custodial stuff.
It's the janitorial supplies is the only other one related to it that, but that interdepartmental charge allocated pay cost, that is the cost of our custodians, including.
Now, do we have our own custodian, or is that custodian shared with the city?
No, we have, all three of them are our own.
Okay, so there is no interdepartmental allocation cost for the custodian if we're paying for it.
Right.
I guess we get charged back, the city. I can get you the breakdown next month from Tom on exactly what we pay for each.
And then just one other thing, and this is not necessarily budget-wise, but it would be good to know if we were going to have any type of plan and also tracking of donations that come through from the foundation. So we know, okay, here we have our budget, and here's, so like for 2024, what did the foundation pay for? Okay, so they paid for this programming, and they paid for these things and stuff like that, just so we have an idea. So if push comes to shove and now we're looking at upgrading this or getting additional things like that, okay, what types of things should we go after for the foundation? What types of things should we have as part of our capital budget? You know, those types of things. Because we have a couple sources of revenue for things that we need to have.
This would have to be a separate financial statement, because none of that goes through the city.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just for our own basis, and I'm sure that the foundation keeps track of.
Yeah, when we meet, we always have, the treasurer always gives a report, financial report, and I could just include that in the board.
That'd be super.
Yeah.
And I wonder if, when we meet with the foundation,
Yes,
if that
yeah.
could be
Right.
one of our points of discussion.
Right.
Just how we can
Right.
better track that, seeing that it doesn't go through the city.
Yeah.
And it's always,
Us letting them know kind of what our future needs are looking
And that
like,
too,
so make sure
right.
that we kind of have that laid out, as well as, okay, here's what we can do from a fundraising standpoint. Because that game's really been up too. I mean, there have been a lot more things that have been done on the foundation side where they're doing things that are bringing money in.
right,
Right, and then what other types of things might we suggest?
correct, yeah.
Okay. That's all I had. If Ellen, you wanted to say anything?
The only other thing I would say is, you bring up a good point about that interdepartment charges, and some of the things that might be going through there, do they plow our lot?
Yeah, but we don't get charged for that. So the
Or-
interdepartmental charge is
or
strictly the
do we?
personnel costs of the custodians.
Yeah, and do they include the guy who plows the lot, and then when they cut the
No.
grass and,
So it's a 20-hour morning custodian, it's a 20-hour evening custodian, and a 12-hour, this is per week,
But-
12-hour weekend custodian.
but Mike makes a good point, we're paying them, right?
Mhm.
We, so
Not
that's-
out of our personnel, out of our.
Not out of
Not of our
personnel.
personnel budget. They are not
Oh.
on our payroll.
So we're paying them through that interdepartment,
We,
okay.
So they're employed by the
Transfer-
city?
So the city pays them out of their,
And charges us in
and then
that.
charges us.
Okay, I understood you to say, oh, no, we're actually paying them.
Oh, sorry,
and-
yeah.
And then getting charged $4,900.
No, I
Yeah.
meant, we are the ones that are responsible for paying for them, not the city. Yeah, sorry.
Okay, that
Should
makes.
clarify
And you know,
that.
that thing has also been kind of a moving target.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
From a dollar standpoint, so if I see a consistent $4,900 charge every month, and I'm knowing I'm getting this surface for these 3 months, and then all of a sudden it changes, and that, but the dollar amount doesn't change?
That would be my question too.
Yeah.
It will change a little bit because we have Mark now, so instead of taking the 33,152 out of sundry contractors, we'll be paying about 2,000 a month for Mark.
Okay, and the,
Right.
So there will,
So we just need
so,
to get
so
that
the
all
dust
straightened
free
out.
3152 goes away?
it's done, yeah. We've gotten our last bill, so.
Oh, good.
This was very helpful, and you said, Mike, you did this first page, just to
Yeah,
show our big,
just to
big
kinda see how
categories
it-
and,
How it
yeah.
goods out.
but again, that doesn't necessarily show, like you said, like we spent X amount on furniture and fixtures last year. But it doesn't show that the foundation donated, or that the chiropractor donated the chairs. It showed what we spent it on, but not what
Yeah.
was brought in to cover the
And you know,
donation to
sometimes
cover
those,
that.
those side notes on, okay, so let's say going into 2026, we're planning on getting these things. Okay, let's make sure that we see, so all of a sudden there's a month where it's really high. Oh, yeah, that's right, because we see that we're buying new this or whatever, so.
Right, right.
Yeah, as well, just from a planning standpoint.
Hmm.
Okay, enough for me.
All right.
You want to say anything about treasurer's report? You obviously have to do the
The
cash
statement.
register.
Get cash register was perfect.
Excellent.
Thank you, thank you. I wasn't sure. so
I did check it,
You
yeah.
can cover up on
Okay, anything else? Or do you want to go through anything else, Alan, on your,
No, I didn't spend that much time on it.
perfect. All right, any other questions for our finance committee, who's all at the end of the table there? The three
The click.
All right, thank you all very much. Okay. And then.
Certainly.
And under agenda item 7A is just a discussion about that joint meeting of the Franklin, of the foundation and the Board of Trustees. So,
Yeah, so I put this on here because I'm talking with the foundation now to schedule a meeting. Waiting for foundation members to be back in the state. Some of them go south for the winter. So April, May.
Must be rough.
April to May, although we're gonna have a board meeting, or a
Foundation.
foundation board meeting the first week of May, so I kinda wanna stay away from that.
okay,
Maria and I thought maybe June. I don't know if we want to wait that long. But then at least we'd be guaranteed to have them here.
It's more of a planning meeting than
Right.
anything, so I think, and because it's not contingent on any of the other dates that we tend to want to make sure that we hit, like budgets and
mm-hmm,
other stuff like that. You know, plus that also gives them time to think about, okay, we should kind of let them know a couple of things, like why is this going to be a good thing for us to get together and do things from a planning standpoint. When you guys get together for the foundation, do they have a kind of an idea of where we're between a rock and a hard place as far as finances go and things, and
Oh, I think I
and
made
how they
that quite
support
clear.
us? So that's if you're there, it's pretty evident then, right? Okay.
And
Annie's
Annie.
there.
You have to remember Annie's there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have they had a meeting since the strategic plan came out?
Yeah, in June. Okay, I have to think about this.
Because
No,
you say
'cause
they've been
no.
gone, some of them have been
Yeah,
gone.
because we
for-
didn't even approve it until
No,
Right.
yeah, they have not seen it. 'Cause they
So
were
maybe they
before.
haven't even seen this idea.
That would
unless
be a good thing
Annie-
to get in their hands.
So-
Which I'll
just
do with
Before
them.
we assail them with
Good point.
wanting to meet with them, maybe in the past, have they looked at the strategic plan at their meetings?
I mean, I know that we've talked about it and I've handed out
Okay.
information about it, but I don't know that we didn't dwell on it.
You didn't do it?
It was just
Okay.
part of my director's
Right, oh, okay,
report.
okay.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I can get
I
that
mean,
to
just-
them at the May meeting. And that
And
would give
just
them time to look it over.
look it
before we
over
meet-
and-
before we meet.
Put the idea of us,
And then the other
Mine too.
question was do we want to meet in an evening? What kind of, do you want me to have? We could have like desserts. I don't know.
yeah,
if we
I know,
want to have it
what do
be
we want
like
this to be like, the Saturday morning retreat or more of a evening board
a meeting
meeting?
like
More of
this.
an evening.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
people like with Saturdays get busy with
Yeah,
families. and
I
kids.
totally agree, especially during the summer, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we could.
What is their meeting day typically, or do they meet
Oh.
all over the place?
All
Okay,
over.
all right.
It's when they all can meet.
Can meet.
So,
Okay,
Yeah.
so maybe we go for, since it's not a meeting where action is being taken, that we go for, the best of the majority, when the most can make it, and if not everybody can, we'll have
And
to
maybe
maybe,
if we can get a date
yes,
someplace
yes.
where we just throw it out there, and say, okay, we'll get together in June. Well, pick a time in
Wednesdays
June
are
that
always
looks
good
like
for me.
What
it's
are
not gonna be a
Wednesdays?
vacation time for
Because I'm
folks or
sick
whatever, and
for
just
the commission.
pick a day in there and say, okay, put this on your calendar.
Right, right.
And then see what comes back.
And you mentioned desserts or something, or
Yeah.
appetizers, or I'd be happy to contribute. or
Right,
make,
yeah,
or
yeah, that would be fun.
I mean, just to make
I'll
it
bring
a
something.
little
Welcome.
That's-
welcome. Yeah.
Yeah, one person.
Will we
could
have
be
new
in-
patio furniture? It could be a outdoor little.
Oh yeah, June. It would be
Yeah.
nice out there
We
and
might as well grill then.
Are we gonna have a grill on our patio, on the patio?
Right.
Or the mosquitoes.
The foundation could donate a grill.
not bad then. Still pretty early, unless June's still pretty early. Well, we could have them, but it's usually not too bad on the patio. I've been out there in the evening.
All right,
That'd be
well,
nice.
it would be nice, yes.
So how many people total is that?
9 and
Six.
6.
If everybody shows up, it would be 15,
15?
16.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, sounds good.
Okay.
Any other ideas? I guess we should all start thinking about maybe what we want to see as a benefit of having this meeting. What do we hope will come out of this? Like Mike said, starting to talk about some of those things.
Should we
and-
have another discussion point at next month's meeting?
That might not
Like,
be a bad
come ready
idea.
to next month's meeting, what are some things that we want to have just
Yes.
whiteboarded?
Goals, yeah. Okay. Anything else? All right, then we're going to look at the 3D printer policy. And I know we had talked about not review anything more recent than 2 years. This is right about 3 years old.
Close
or
to it.
almost
Almost.
3 years old.
The only reason
So-
I'm bringing it forward is because Sam wanted me to take out that first sentence in the second paragraph. Because he's the one who helps people with the 3D printer, and he never asks to see a library card.
Oh.
He didn't even realize it was
You were supposed to do.
yeah, and I'm like, I don't really know why we had that in there, because it's not like people are checking it out. They're using it here. So I don't, and we could have.
So if anybody, regardless of whether they have a library card or patron or whatever, wanted to come in and make some copies or print some stuff out or wherever, they're free to do it, just pay for it.
Yeah, we don't check when they use a copier, a regular
There you go.
copier.
Okay.
Right.
Do they pay for the
Mm-hmm.
supplies and we provide the supplies? They don't have to pay their own?
Nope.
Okay.
So, yeah, we
They just have to
charge,
be ready to pay, and it's like, okay, you did all this stuff, here's your bill.
I think it's at the bottom, and for some reason it's in light
Right.
print, I don't know why, that they're charged on the basis of material used.
Right.
The plastic filament we use is extremely
Yeah.
inexpensive.
Yeah.
Does any of it have to do with the fact that the 3D printer eventually will wear out and we want to be providing the services only to McFliss users?
I don't know that we get that many people from outside
Okay.
McFliss to really worry about that.
Okay.
I would almost think, unless their library card either has expired or is not usable anymore, that people that are familiar with the library know we have it. If you're not even a library user, that you have a library card. I guess you could find out that when you have
So,
it,
but we're not
yeah.
logging then. Like, who's using it? Like, what happens if they break it? Like, and we
Oh,
don't know.
no. Sam
works
uses
with
it.
them.
They bring in
Sam-
the.
Sam works with them.
Okay,
So
s-
we don't let them just go crazy on it by
okay, yeah.
themselves.
Okay.
No, it's too expensive.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, they probably bring the.
They have their file.
Their
in fact,
file, yeah.
In fact, if you look on our website, there's a place where you can upload.
Oh, your 3D
You
file.
can upload the
And then come
3D
and pick it
file,
up?
and then Sam works on it.
Oh, wow.
Or people can come in with their file
Nice.
and do it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right.
So yeah,
Do we restrict things like guns?
Yes, it's I believe in the kind of the middle of the page.
Yeah, no
there.
weapons, materials prohibited by license. Yeah, okay.
I don't like the sentence that we don't share information about legal activities with third parties. What if the government subpoenas us?
well, that's a little.
Well, that's a third party.
Where are you reading?
Yeah. I don't, where is that?
It's right after the bullet points, in the paragraph after the bullet points. They review the object file. Nature of 3D printing does not allow complete patron privacy, but the library will not share information about a patron's legal activities with third parties.
I guess I would ask Sam. Did he write this or did he?
No, this
has
this
in
is
a-
from Rachel. Like
Okay.
this is an older one from 2017.
I would assume I would. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm
that is
just
really
guessing.
weird.
This would be my guess. Is that if they are taking a copyrighted design and bringing it in here, and we don't know it's copyrighted or whatever, could that be why we put something like we're not going to report them if they're using a some character? Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know if we were, so we're going to hide. It says legal activities. It'd be
know.
illegal to use a trademark. I'm
Yeah.
inclined to take out that sentence and not like provide any guarantees about privacy.
Yeah, I mean, if we had a subpoena from
Yeah.
properly.
Yeah, but that doesn't say we can provide it even in response to subpoena. We will not share information about legal activities. I'm inclined
Yeah, I
to just
would
take
leave
out the
that out.
sentence
Yeah.
because
Well,
what
the
was-
sentence following it is redundant.
Is
with the first
redundant,
sentence
yeah.
too,
Yeah.
so we can just have the first part, the first sentence, and then.
Good thing we have an attorney in the group.
I'm not giving legal advice.
Yeah, you're right. That is a redundant.
Yeah, we'll get a bill.
Yeah.
No, I just want to make sure my firm doesn't say I'm giving legal advice.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think just I would just leave the library
Okay.
staff will review every object before it is printed, and the library reserves the right to refuse any 3D print request, and just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it. There probably should be a copyright statement on here, though.
Yeah. Now that she brought that
I don't know
up.
how that works with.
Well, we
those
already say our
files.
materials that are prohibited by local, state, or federal law. I guess
Well, which would be copyright law, right?
well, it's materials that are.
While we're in that paragraph, the very first line says the library reserves the right to refuse any 3D print request. The last line says Franklin
Yeah.
Public Library refuses the
I
right
know.
to.
I think we're just gonna leave the first sentence in and take out the rest of that
We're gonna take
paragraph.
out
I
the whole-
strike
the
Yeah.
whole rest of the
Yeah.
paragraph. Yeah.
We already say here violate another person's property rights.
Yep.
Okay.
Will not be used to reproduce objects or materials subject to copyright, patent, or trademark protection. So I don't think we need
Okay.
to do anything about the copyright because
Copyright,
it's already
okay.
in that bullet point.
Mhm. Anything else kind of talks about operational things?
All right. Okay. Anything else?
So I'll make a motion to reaffirm the 3D printer policy with what was strucken out, as well as removing the second and third sentence from that paragraph below the bullet points.
All right. I will second that. Any other questions about that or things you want to bring up? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed or abstained? All right. Motion carries. Okay, Michelle, do you have an update on council actions relating to the library?
Nothing relating to the library at this time.
Okay, sounds good. And as far as the Franklin Public Schools, sometimes Amanda sends me an update, but she didn't this time, so there's nothing to report from the schools.
I can say one thing. We are working with the
Yes.
4K to do the tours, so that's in the works.
Oh.
Wonderful.
Good, good. All right, for myself, Chris contacted Jennifer this morning because he wasn't feeling well. He knew we were tight on the quorum, so he offered to call in. And so Jennifer and I were trying to figure out, because we weren't sure if Alan was going to be here. So I just thought I would take the opportunity to do a little review of our bylaws here because because it came up today. So an actual quorum shall be determined using trustee members who are physically present. So that's how we determine a quorum. However, also, the board president may grant permission for a trustee to participate in board meetings by phone or video. And all votes taken during a meeting where a trustee attends by telephone or video shall be by roll call vote. So the quorum has to be determined by those present, but people can participate and vote by phone. So no closed sessions you can't participate
So
in a
what you're
closed
saying is
session.
that if Alan wouldn't have been able to make it, we couldn't have the meeting.
Correct,
Okay.
correct. And if Chris decided to join us tonight by phone, he could vote,
could.
but wouldn't count towards the quorum, yeah. So anyways, okay.
I thought we amended the bylaws because the city was discouraging us from doing remote participation. Is that still the case, Michelle? They don't want us to do remote.
We're not doing
Totally.
all remote
I know.
open meetings.
I know, I
So
know.
during,
Well, we
It's-
allow it in council. We've allowed it before. Someone's out
Okay,
of
that's
work,
good to
we-
know.
But it has to go to the council first. Like, for example, Alderman Barber was out for medical leave. It came to the council for us to vote if he could call in from home.
Okay.
It passed, and then he was able to do that. So, and then it was a certain period of time, and a certain period of time only, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So,
and then did he count towards a quorum? Or
Yes.
okay, okay.
Yep.
All right.
so I
That's
think they
good
were
to know.
trying to do away from it because there was so much of it after COVID
Mhm.
was done.
Right, yes. Yeah, I know that's why we amended that.
Yeah. Okay. So that's good to know in
Yeah.
terms of.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, that's the most recent ones, was from our website, so. And then also, the Personnel Committee is not going to be meeting soon, but this has been something on my mind, and I just want everybody to start thinking about it. That we review the director, and she reviews the staff, but I don't think we don't review the board, and I don't know if that's something we.
I don't get paid.
Okay. All right.
So when you say review the board, what are we thinking?
I don't know.
Don't
That's
think we
what
should review the
You don't
board.
think we should do a
It's political-
self-evaluation?
It's a political appointee.
Okay.
So what's going to happen? We review the board and like, I hate Mike. I think he sucks. Like he talks all the time. Or what are we going to do? I'm sorry. That's not true, Mike. But you know what I'm saying? Like, what are we
She's
going
the
to?
cashier, hurts my feelings.
Yeah, I don't care. We've been on the board for many years together. None of
But
that's
she
true.
gets to stay on.
And there's no code of conduct in place anymore at the city either.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll be
Okay.
listed.
All right.
I just don't think I agree with you, Mike. I mean, like, what are we gonna do with it? Like, are we gonna review each other? I'm not sure what we would review.
I guess
We
I
can
was
talk about
more
personnel
like
committee,
goals and, strengths and
like in
weaknesses. What do we-
general, like
Yeah.
For an unpaid volunteer position.
Okay.
I don't know of any other boards and commissions that do
Okay.
that.
I think our time would be more well spent identifying in general goals for the board without
Okay.
evaluating.
I guess
the board.
maybe
Right. In ways we
maybe
can be
that's
better.
more what I'm getting at.
Yeah,
So,
positive ways that we can
Yeah.
contribute
Yeah.
more and be better. Or
yeah. What do we do good? What do we want to do better?
improve. Yeah, I think that would be
Yes.
more
So, but
beneficial.
yes, okay, and that's what I had in mind.
Because
Not
you can
like
review. It's like you're gonna
yes.
give like comments and
Yes,
you
I
know,
used
could
the
do it
wrong
anonymously,
word.
Nobody would
If
know what it
anything, what
was.
this group tends to do is when an individual's term is coming up and, the decision, are you going to stay or not, there tends to be a good amount of affirmation of individuals saying, you've done a really good job, is this or whatever like that. We would love to have you back.
Right.
Right.
Speaking of which, okay, so that was good feedback.
And
I-
anyone can be removed from any board and commission
Right.
Yeah.
at any
Right.
given time.
I just
You have
think
to
when you
submit
say
a
that, yeah.
special form.
I was more
As
thinking
we
of
now know.
like
Huh?
looking
As
at
we
our
now know.
goals
Oh.
for the board
I
and
think-
that kind of
Thanks for
thing.
sharing.
Not,
Now I know how to.
I'm guessing I'm not gonna be asked
Just
back
trying
on
to
the
figure out
board.
where it was undercover.
Yeah, so if anyone was really bad, they can be removed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a
Yeah,
way that they could be
right,
removed
I
from the
mean-
city.
I don't think we've
But-
had that.
But
Well,
Terry's right.
this
Yeah, we
board
did.
has had that, Mike.
We did.
I'm a what?
This board has
Mean
had
girl.
that.
I'm a mean
Jennifer
girl.
had to do that.
I was using it as an example because that's what can happen. Is we have political. We're doing like reviews like that. Political.
Right.
Yeah.
It's going to become political, and people have their own idiosyncrasies, and I think we get along very well as a board. And to Mike's
Yeah.
point, if we had a problem with one another, I think we would tell you,
Oh, yeah.
and then
Yeah.
you would deal with it.
Yeah.
I think I would not say, and we can talk about this more at the personnel committee. I would not say it's like a board like evaluation. I
It's
think
a-
it would be more like sort of like looking at the strategic plan and maybe
Yes.
having a meeting where we talk about what are our goals as a board, but we sort of already do that in the retreat.
Yeah.
So we could talk about it more, but
Yeah,
I guess
and
my
I guess that's
initial
what I
reaction
was.
is not an
That's what I was
evaluation.
thinking of. Yeah, not exactly an evaluation or review, but more of a, is there something you want to accomplish
That's a
or?
really good point, because
yeah.
we tend to focus more on the library,
Right.
not on us, like how
Right.
good a job are we doing, can we up our game, or?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How can we be more effective, or do we feel like
Right.
we're already?
But I think we should do that in general. I'm glad to hear the code of conduct is no longer in play.
Oh yeah, that was one of the first things when
Yeah,
Nelson
yeah.
took over.
Yeah, I found that out.
But for the record, I'll volunteer to talk less.
Actually, I don't think you talk that
All
much.
right. So
I talk more than you.
almost moving on. Chris has already let me know he would like to be reappointed to the board. I don't know if you've
I have to
made-
reconsider now that Mike and I have had our little tiff. so-
Right.
I'll let you know next board meeting.
We will
Okay.
continue sitting beyond arms.
Oh my goodness. Sounds good. All righty. We
Mike
will
might ask you privately after this conversation if she removed me anyway. So
I'm documenting.
the finance committee will be talking to you afterwards.
Oh goodness.
I'm out of here.
All righty. One at a time, please. No. Okay, Jennifer. We will continue with agenda item. Let's see, what is that? 11. Jennifer. Yeah.
Just as you can see, so all the projects are it's heating up.
Yeah.
You know,
Or
A lot of
cooling
equipment
down.
sitting out there.
Yeah.
yeah, there is.
What's sitting
so
out
the
there?
solar.
Equipment.
Oh, yeah.
You know, if they were correct on their timeline, the solar should be wrapping up this week.
Wow.
As I said, well, they did have a 1-day delay because of the snow.
Uh-huh.
Right.
Which
And
what
then-
happened there?
So they were pushing the snow. They had to push the snow so they could get the bricks
Yeah.
up there.
Where do they think the snow was going to go?
Well, they were pushing it towards the drain
Mm-hmm.
because there's a drain up there.
It's a flat roof.
Yeah, and so it,
Yeah.
the drain, the weight of the snow, because it was a heavy
Yeah.
snow,
It was.
disconnected the drain,
Ooh.
and then we just had a flood. I mean, literally,
'Cause it's a
it
flat
was
roof.
horrible.
Well,
it was horrible.
And is that the flood that Bailey Christie found? There is Bailey
Oh no, that was
Christie.
another one, but that was a different. That was from a drain too.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
was all excited that she saved the
She
library.
did. She did. Well, we did lose a couple books, but that's. I mean, if she hadn't come and told us right away, we would
Yeah,
have lost
yeah.
more.
Good for
so
Bailey.
yes,
Remember
Yes.
that.
Let's
Yeah.
call her
Yeah.
Bailey. She's
yeah, we'll give her
I
a
love
hero
Bailey.
award.
Yay.
Yeah, we had that. We had that one.
Yeah, she's like,
Right.
guess what, Michelle? I
That
saved
was
the
a.
library."
That was actually.
She's
I
like,
don't think that actually. Now I say it. That was from a valve. So we have the valves that run through the building, and that
Uh-huh.
was from one of the valves. So
Okay.
Joe fixed that. So the HVAC. I at my meeting last week, they said their plan is still to replace the chiller,
Okay.
and they're going to fix the problem we have with the HVAC now to help us get through summer.
okay. What exactly is their plan?
I don't know that exactly yet.
Because
And are we paying for it?
No,
Okay.
I mean the city.
This-
It's part of the.
Okay.
You mean you're talking about the repair.
Yeah. I mean, well, isn't the issue that part of this is caused by the fact that they didn't?
They didn't know
Anticipate.
that the
That's that, yeah. Because when we had the issue with the AC last fall, I told them not to fix it because I thought we were getting the new chiller. And I figured why spend money, because it's an electrical issue, so we're gonna have an electrician come in. So Johnson Controls is saying they will have it up and running. I could check with Kelly Hirsch, I haven't been told we're gonna get a bill for it.
Okay.
But we'll know next month if we did.
Well, we're gonna know when the air conditioning goes out this summer and we get a
Oh,
huge
man.
bowl for coolant.
Oh,
And we're a
it's-
cooling center too.
Yeah, so that's what's gonna happen, right, is they're gonna have to
If-
come in and
if
put in
we
expensive
lose-
coolant.
If we lose coolant, which I'm hoping that all of those leaks were repaired last year. But if we do, we're gonna pay like some crazy amount per pound. So, let's knock on wood that I don't have to do that.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
The boilers, they're trying to figure out a good time to fix the
Right.
boilers when we don't have as much demand for heating. So, hopefully I'll get a confirmation on a date at the next status meeting. And if you've seen all the ladders and all the guys,
Mm-hmm.
there's lots of new wiring being put in for not only the thermostats, but they're putting in wiring for that Open Blue
Mm.
Enterprise.
Yeah, explain that to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah,
What is that gonna, it's library control.
well, I'm gonna be
what's it
trained on
controlling?
it. It's controlling the systems. I'll let you know when I'm trained on it.
Okay, so it's basically all of the Johnson Control
Yeah.
type stuff
Yes.
that
Yeah.
would be in here?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So can you control it from home,
I don't,
from your phone?
that would be kinda cool, but I don't think Joe would put me in charge of that. As I'm calling him all the time going, Joe, it's too cold in here. Joe, it's too hot in
Maybe
here.
he will put you in charge of it.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Phone
To
calls.
shut me up.
Exactly, yeah.
So that's all. So that's all being done. You see the lighting here? That's too
Mhm.
dark. That's being replaced with brighter lights, and that's not. I mean, they sent the wrong. They sent the
Right.
wrong lights. These are fine. It's the drop down ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So those should be
Yeah.
coming in. I think they said 4 weeks, and that was like 2.5, 3 weeks ago. So that's that. As far as the February credit card, we got to figure out something. It didn't get to it didn't get to Elan Financial Services until 2 days after the
And
due
who-
date.
Is there some type of requirement that they have to send a check for anything?
Well, that's why I'm talking to him about doing an electronic funds transfer. Evidently, we might be able to do an
We're in the
electronic
21st
funds.
century.
Yeah.
Why are we writing
So-
checks and then hoping it gets there on time, and then us having to pay a fee? I don't like that.
Well,
Yeah.
and so where was the delay? Was it us getting information from them?
No, because we entered it and
Yeah.
approved it right away.
So it was the
And
city got the
Sarah-
check out late.
Yes, Sarah Bean ran the check because it's an early release.
Right. Oh,
And so
right.
she ran the check right away.
Yeah.
But then it did sit around for signatures for a few days.
So I know it's only $104, but is
Still
that
a lot.
on our?
Signature.
Are we paying for that, or is the city paying for that? Because
Signature.
it held up. It got held
Signatures
up
from
there.
who?
I don't know the process for signatures.
Okay, because the mayor's in, he goes in on Saturdays and Sundays to sign stuff, so it wouldn't have
Yeah.
been held up.
I don't think it was.
But if
them.
it was something on the city, definitely talk to Daniel Brown because they should be, then we
So
should
I don't
be
think we
reimbursing.
should. I mean, is that charge then put on our next
Well, I
bill?
think that's what
and-
Michelle is saying, is we
Okay.
should talk to Danielle, and she
Yes.
can make sure that
Yeah.
we're reimbursed for that.
Right.
Yeah, if it's totally
So
not our fault.
just make sure
Okay, I can
that
talk to
the
them.
we don't want to be
Yeah.
responsible.
But
for that
also,
if it-
just if they
if
can
we
do it with
entered-
an electronic funds transfer, then
Yeah.
that would be better
Yeah.
than the check anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because, yeah,
All right.
Checks get
So
lost.
check with her about that.
checks can get.
They can get whitewashed,
Well,
they can get altered, and
Yeah.
people can change
Yeah,
the amounts.
we don't
and-
have something set up for electronic funds transfer. It's been talked about in the past. I guess it's really
Oh.
costly.
But,
Talk to them, but it doesn't.
but I have like 3 or 4 credit cards and I don't set up anything with my bank. for,
Yeah.
like, I tell them to take the
Yeah.
money and they pull it from my account.
Yeah, I mean, mention it definitely. I
Yeah.
mean, we're kind of.
You've already approved it,
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
I'll
Yeah.
yeah.
meet with Danielle.
To have to approve it each time, it's just a log jam, right?
Yeah.
And
Right,
then tomorrow, Wednesday night is the last Great Decisions program of 2025. We've had some really good programs this year.
Yeah.
Jennifer,
And good attendance?
good. Between, I think our lowest attendance was 25, our highest attendance
Oh.
was about 35. But a lot of people watch it at home because we record them.
Okay.
So we get a lot of views at home. One of them, I think, had like a lot of views.
Mm.
I think it was John Katzka's first one. I want to say had like 93 views.
Oh, wow.
So they're getting
Mhm.
watched. So
How long does it stay out there?
it stays out there for. It's on our YouTube channel forever. I mean, we have all of
Okay,
the past
so you
ones.
could go back and look at it.
Yeah, but for statistics purposes, we're only supposed to use the past 30 days.
Otherwise, you're gonna discourage the on-site attendance.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which you really wanna have.
So, well, we have a lot of seniors who just don't want
Right.
to. I mean, February and March, it could be dark.
Snowy.
By the time
Yeah.
it's done, and we have a lot of seniors that just don't want to drive after
Mhm.
dark.
Mm-hmm.
So.
But some of these topics in here, I think it's not generational,
No. Mm-mm.
right? I mean, this is something that everybody should, so,
Mhm.
maybe we promote it higher. There's definitely plenty of room.
We used to do so. The foundation, we got better attendance when we had advertised it on WPR. That was very expensive, and the foundation decided to
To not do
not do
fund
that.
it.
Well, would it be,
Maybe somebody would be willing to underwrite the funding for it to be on there, so that we have that, just another way of having somebody, I'll donate, for one of the great decisions things, what's it cost? Type of thing, put it out there on the Christmas tree or something.
right, right.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
could try it on the Christmas tree.
Do we put it out there to some of the, like the high school teachers who are teaching,
I did one year.
yeah,
I did one year.
classes and encouraging
Yeah.
them to,
Because we have had programs before
economics
where,
teachers or
they got extra
history,
credit.
or I'm trying to think of some of the topics, what types of teachers you would put it out there to, that maybe they could, if they have,
Well,
offer
the
it
Global
to their
Cooperation
students.
on Climate Change could be
Right.
science.
Or exactly, yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
I mean, and
A lot of them are, political science.
Shoot that out to Amanda.
Yeah.
yeah,
You know?
yeah,
And it doesn't even have to be just the high school, I mean,
Well, right.
kids at any level, I mean,
right. Yes, yeah.
And then our Jennifer Chiavrini author event with Boswell Books. We have, at least as of my last check last week, we had 108 people signed up.
Nice.
And that was for what again?
Jennifer Chiavrini, she's a author based in Madison, and she writes an Elm Creek quilt series. I have to say that really slow.
I know, right?
And then she also writes historical fiction,
Fiction, yeah.
which is, I mean, she's up there on the bestsellers when
Yeah.
her historical
Yeah.
fiction comes out.
Wow.
The Elm Creek quilt series isn't, but her historical fiction oftentimes makes it onto the New York Times bestseller list.
So my sister was in town, and she is from St. Louis, and she lives in a little, a suburb like Franklin
Yeah.
with a library like this, and they have like big name authors coming through there all the time. And I asked her, well, did they come to your library? Oh no, to St. Louis. So they have a system like this, but on her library's website, they have the system works very intentionally, bringing authors to St. Louis and advertising them on all the websites. And they charge like $35. Some are ticketed events, and they
Mhm.
charge up
So
to
what you're
30.
saying is this segment Fliss could do that?
Yeah,
From the walk.
I mean, we've talked about having an events page that you can see all the events at all the libraries, but they
Mhm.
do it very specifically with the authors, and then the system works with like bookstores like Boswell or whatever down there, and they always
Mm-hmm.
have. I mean, and we're talking like every month or a couple times, so.
Yeah.
So I don't know of other libraries that are bringing authors in, but maybe there are. But it's kind of a
Not
nice.
so much authors, but I know the Madison Public Library, the main one will have an artist in residence. for
Oh,
example.
sure.
So,
Yeah.
so there's somebody that's there, and if you look
Yeah.
at the walls in the library, I mean, it's just incredible, just
Yeah.
all of the
Yeah.
art, the crazy art
Sure.
that's there, so.
So that might be something the
Yeah.
directors want to talk about. Just that,
If this is successful, I think that we'll be doing more stuff with Boswell. I've been reaching out to him for years. And one of the things was, I guess in the early, probably like 12 to 15 years ago, they sent some authors here and we didn't have great turnout.
Oh,
That's a new game now.
But,
Yeah, yeah.
but also I was talking with Carrie, and some of them were young adult authors that might have a more limited
Right,
audience,
yeah,
so.
yeah.
But, so we're hoping
Mhm.
that this will start, and I met, Daniel was in the library a couple weeks ago and he popped into my office and we chatted, so I'm really hoping this is
That's great.
the start
Good.
of a good
Good.
partnership. And then we have the wine, On Cloud Wine fundraiser night on Thursday, April 3rd, so if anytime between 5 and 8.
Do you know what
We get-
percentage?
All you have to do is show up, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I should,
like
I
a
think-
portion, is that a, do we know what portion? A
10%, I think it's 10%.
10%, I was just curious, okay, all right,
And, but they're helping us with, baskets.
You're gonna
Nice.
shop for
So
yourself,
they,
Raffles, like-
they're donating some stuff so that we can do baskets.
oh, nice, okay,
And then, of course, we have the Moatman Foundation fundraiser.
June 1st.
Chris has already told me when he called in sick that he would work
do
the
that.
table.
Oh, nice,
Yeah.
very nice, good, okay.
Before you go on, Miklas have any further information about the funding issue?
The email you
The
sent.
cut, the cut
Oh,
to
the
funding?
email.
The-
So I have to look and see what Steve has sent. I can dig. I can have that. at
So
the
it's
next
not going to
meeting.
affect budgeting for this year, but next year will be the problem? Because the
Yeah,
Miklas's
and-
budget would be cut? Is that the idea, or what do they say?
Nicholas' budget is not cut, but there are things that they have been able to finance through grants.
Okay, so we just think it's a grant issue. It's not
Yeah,
gonna
it's not-
undermine like reciprocal borrowing or anything like that? Okay, okay, that's good to
All
know.
of that money comes from the state.
Okay, that's what I thought, but then
Yeah.
it was like, so what exactly does
So
this
it's
mean?
not a huge amount of money.
Okay,
But, you know, I mean, it doesn't take a lot to
right, okay, I was just curious.
impact us, but, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All right,
February was, well, I remembered, we were down 777 from last year, but last year we had an extra day.
I was wondering about that.
So I felt better about it after I realized we were open one more day in February last year,
Yeah.
so. Because the gate count was pretty darn close.
Mm-hmm.
Everything was pretty good. We had a little bit less attendance at programs than last year. I don't know why, like if we had less programs this year.
Mhm.
But all in all, it was
And that decrease in circulation from last year to this year?
well, again, that's one day. It
But
wouldn't have been that
January
much.
and February? I mean, is there, do
Oh.
you see like
You know,
reason or
was
do you think
January
it's-
'cause
Well,
of
I
the
know
cold
that we
weather?
were out of school twice.
yeah, cold
That's
weather.
This year.
That's
snowy
true.
weather.
Yeah.
Snow
Okay.
and cold,
Yeah.
so.
Yep, okay,
Yeah, and again, the difference with prior year for February would have been much
Yeah.
less
Okay.
if we had
Right.
been open.
that's true,
Mhm.
One
that's
day.
true. Okay,
Locker holds are still going strong.
Mhm.
People are using them. Yeah, it's a good.
good, okay. Any other questions for Jennifer? All right, Terry, do you have a colon report?
Not at this time.
Okay.
It's so delicious.
Oh my gosh.
I want to know what
The
that
report is so delicious.
I'm really hungry.
Looking forward to it.
All right,
It'll be like
so do you,
dessert.
okay, so no colon report.
We got Maria flustered.
Okay, all righty. The Buildings and Grounds Committee will be meeting to be determined.
So that's,
That's not me.
Me?
Don't
No,
look at me.
No,
oh yeah, that's right, your
just
personnel.
Michelle
Oh,
and
so two of the-
Amanda, yeah,
Two of the
okay.
people who would
But it's
be-
that time of the year.
Yeah, But
for
it's
your-
that time of the year where
Is
I'm gonna
it
be
your big
scheduling it.
annual
Yes, and I'm a
walkthrough?
little nervous because it's
Wow.
kind of, we just
I
have a
know.
lot of grit from all the work
Yeah.
in the ceiling.
Yeah, yeah, okay,
So-
well,
But we have Mark, our custodian, who's helping us
know.
clean it up,
Yeah.
so.
have him change the clock in here.
I asked Bob to do that.
Oh, yeah, they'll need a
I'll-
big
I'll have
ladder.
the week-
Okay.
That's an atomic clock, by the way. I don't know why it didn't change.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Right. And then our next meeting is April 28th. Is there anyone that knows
In
already?
the federal room.
Oh, gosh.
Well, I,
No, it's in the Seabrook Conference Room.
good catch. I just come and go where Whatever it is.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Since Annie's not here.
Alan, aren't you
Oh,
a second?
second.
Okay, Mike and Alan, excellent, all in favor?
Aye.
Alrighty, 6:50.